it took me a long time to start actually taking the gun with me anywhere.
Yes, and that is nerve-wracking to start to do.
Welcome to the next episode of the Sucker Max Experiences. This is a two-part episode. I'm going to talk to, in this part, Clay Martin, who is, he's become a good friend of mine. I read his book, Prairie Fire, which was his second nonfiction book about sort of the revolution or collapse or chaos coming in America. And man, I got to be honest, man, I read Prairie Fire and it freaked me the fuck out. No doubt. It really, I thought I kind of understood. And then I read that book and I was like, man, I am not ready. And so I got in contact with Clay and I'm like, dude, you got to help me, man. You got to help because my shit's not together yet. And I thought it was, which was the bad part. And so I ended up hiring Clay. Clay came down, me and some friends also hired Clay and came down. He trained me in shooting, helped me set up my gear, walked my entire ranch with me, helped me set up all my defenses. The dude has been a total lifesaver. He's an amazing guy, brilliant in what he knows. Spent 20 years as a Marine of some sort, some fancy Special Forces Marine, and then transferred over to Green Beret and was a Green Beret for like a decade and a half. And it's fun. I've talked to other dudes who served with him that, that don't know I know him, or that he doesn't know I know. And Clay had an amazing reputation. The guy was a stone, just to put it frankly, a stone killer. Like he was one of the way my friend put it, he's one of the guys that if your back's against the wall, you want to have next to you. And I can see that. I mean, he's just, he just knows his stuff. And so what I did, this is a long two-part, it's 3 hours. But the reason it's so long is I really wanted to try and extract for you the core parts of what Clay's taught me, right? And so I have him kind of walk us through in the interview. If you don't know what the hell's going on, you don't know anything about self-defense, you don't know any gear, where do you start? Like, what is the first thing you do? Now, what's the second thing? And you listen to this 3 hours, you can take what he says and do exactly what he says, and you're going to come out the back end. You're not going to come out like a badass Special Forces guy, but you're going to be ready, right? You're going to, now he's like there's some basic things you got to do, and you got to actually do the training and whatever, but if you do what he tells you to do, you're going to be ready. So, I hope you enjoy this episode. It was a lot of fun for me because he's such a smart guy and he knows his shit so well. It's really fun for me to talk to him. So I hope you enjoy.
All right, everyone. So I'm very excited to have Clay Martin on. Clay is a friend of mine, and he's the dude that I hired. After I read Prairie Fire, I was like borderline shitting my pants because I thought I was ready defensively, and I realized, no, man, I didn't even know what ready looked like. And so Clay actually reached out to me because of something else. But then I was like, oh, dude, because Clay used to be very hard to find, but now he has a website and stuff. He's easy to find. And I was like, can you help me get my shit straight? Like get gear straight and all that sort of stuff. Because here's what I've found. There's a ton of great people. And, I talked to a lot of other people who know a ton about self-defense stuff and guns and training and all that. But most of those people are military, right? And so they think from a military mindset, right? Like when I asked Tim Kennedy about setup, he's like, oh, just go by and he names stuff. And I'm like, dude, I'm not breaching doors for the Marine Corps, right? I'm a dude in a truck who lives on a ranch in Texas. I don't need, level 4+ plates or whatever the fuck, right? And so it's very hard to find. And then of course you talk to gun guys who don't really know military or haven't been in combat, and then they just talk honestly fucking nonsense, right? Oh yeah, you should go get this and $5,000 staccato pistol and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be an Instagram model, right? And so Clay is the dude that I found that, no, like, first off, this is the number one thing. I'm going to say this over and over. When you're picking someone to help you with anything, the first question to ask is, have they done it? Right. And so Clay's 20 years in special forces, like so many tours and so much combat that it's like kind of ridiculous. So he's done it for decades at the highest level. But more importantly is that Clay speaks civilian pretty well. He still sometimes he'll say shit and I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? That's insane. But he speaks very fluent civilian, more fluent than almost any other true expert that I've ever met. And so Clay became the dude that I now go to for all my gun questions, and not just gun, but gear. Like, how do I carry my weapon? Like, we're going to get deep into this because I was totally fucked up on this and didn't really realize it. How do I carry my weapon? How do I train with my weapon? What other things do I need? You know, and Clay is really the one who kind of taught me about defense in depth, right? Levels of defense, right? And thinking that way. So what I'm going to do on this set of episodes with Clay is I'm going to sort of play the role of beginner, and I'm going to have him walk me through literally every single step that I need to take to go from I'm a petrified, and I don't mean this in a pejorative sense, I'm a petrified pacifist coward to I can effectively defend myself and my family, right? So, because that's the other thing. I think a lot of people, pre-2020, pre-COVID, I had a pistol, a shotgun, and a hunting rifle. Like, I like guns. I hunt, right? But I never got into like the serious gun dude stuff because to me, I wasn't in the military, right? I'm not a bounty hunter. Like it felt like LARPing to me, right? It felt like absurd LARPing. Like it's cool. Like I loved all that stuff, but it was like, what the fuck do I have a need for an assault rifle for? You're like, yeah, dudes want to buy them. Cool. I don't need one. Then, last 2 years happened. I'm like, oh shit. Not only do I need one, but my wife needs one. I need one in my truck. I need one in my bed. Like I need them everywhere. So, and Clay is the dude who really helped me understand kind of this world. All right, Clay. So we're going to pretend, and I'm going to kind of half play the role back and forth. Let's pretend that I am like a former pacifist, I don't want to touch guns, like leave me alone. Like
April 2020,
right.
Decided it's not a good place to be.
Right.
You want to live.
Exactly. Right. Like, just call the police, they're on our side. Like that. Okay. So, and then when shit happens and now I'm like, I'm a freaked out, like, holy shit, everything I thought was wrong. I need to get up to speed to defend myself and my family. Clay, what the fuck do I do? What's the first thing?
Well, you've realized you have a problem. So that's step number one.
Yeah.
All right. Look, this is a very common thing that's happened, over the last 2 years. Like a lot of dudes were in that position, and I totally get it. I mean, man, I've told clients this week, like, look, bro, I get it. Up to that point, 2020, you could have had like a pistol as an American and like had all your bases covered. Like you were good, man. Like really, you could have two, like one more than nightstand. You're okay. But we're not there. So a lot of people, like you said, have awakened to this problem. And one of the first steps that you're going to have to take there is to realize like how not extensive your knowledge is. For a lot of people in this situation, it's like being 31, 32 years old and seeing a car for the first time. All right, that's a lot different.
Yeah.
It's a lot different trying to learn how to drive at 16 and your brain's not as pliable. Right. As well as you've lived now, you've got this deeper experience. You're trying to drive a machine. It's going to be rough, man. It's going to be a rough learning curve. And so you have to approach it from that. The second thing you got to do, shit can all the knowledge that you have from video games, movies, fucking any media platform over the last 40 years, because that teaches such a wrong lesson, both that you can pick up a gun and use it right now if you've never touched one before, as well as it always shortens the learning curve. Hold
on. So you're telling me when I shoot people in the street, I don't just get like a bunch of free ammo and like feel better?
Yeah, 200 round magazine in your gun, and
So you're telling me when I run over a hooker, I don't automatically get the gun in her purse? This is bullshit.
the hero of the story, you can't die. No, really, I mean, we all have to look at ourselves like we're supporting character. Like we can die. So that's step number one. So you're looking at this like, oh my God, what am I going to do next? Well, the first step for me, I think, we're talking to somebody that has never done anything. You don't even actually want to go and immediately get a gun for a couple of different reasons. Number one, like I said, you have to learn how to use that thing. If you've never touched one before, and we get you out of your village in, South America or whatever, and I hand you a pistol, your odds of hurting yourself are really high. And your odds of being able to use this effectively to defend yourself are just about zero. In fact, you can make the situation a lot worse. It's very easy if you've just figured out how to rack the slide and pull the trigger, like I said, to hurt not only yourself, but a family member by accident, just because you don't know. And you don't know what you're doing with that. So that's actually a little ways down the road for me. The first thing that I'm advising people to do now is, okay, I'm scared. I need something that gives me some kind of edge besides fighting with my hands. Because I just woke up to this. I probably am not great with those either.
Yeah.
So I need something. I think this is kind of a weird, controversial step. The first step, like right now, is go get a hatchet. All right. This is, basically a club with a sharp side to it. All right. All of us know how to use clubs. It's the most primitive, basic of all man's weapons. I can do this, reasonably well. I'm better off than I was with nothing. All right. And I don't.
So that's like if I'm in a panic and I don't know what to do, but I want to do something. Go to Home Depot and buy a roofing hatchet.
$20. Yep.
My son's gonna love
and
that.
This is actually, a very effective weapon in certain situations too close. We actually used to carry these when I was on the assault teams because they're great for like breaking open, file drawers and stuff like that, desk drawers, as well as if things do get really weird and I pull this out, like it is a force multiplier at very close range. All right, it's gonna help.
And it's scary. Like you made this, I heard you make this point on All Teachers podcast. Like, if a dude pulls out a hatchet, you're going to take him very seriously.
If somebody's willing to axe murder you, like, actually, this is weird, but psychologically, this is better
than a knife.
Yeah,
totally.
Because, again, back to that primitive man concept, we can all use impact weapons. All right, we're already like there. Like this way you see dudes in movies depends on with baseball bats. Or why a lot of people think baseball bats okay. It's not the same like weird psychological penetration stuff of a blade, which takes a little bit of mindset to get past.
Yeah.
All right, this is primitive, like killer monkey stuff. And I don't even have to turn it to the legal side. Look, I got an impact weapon over there too. All right. It's probably
hammers kill people every year. Those are deadly weapon, even in the Clue. Professor Mustard with the hammer in the library.
But from a psych perspective, I'm telling you this, if you've never been in a hostile confrontation before, lethal force confrontation, you are more likely to use this, even though it's a lethal weapon, because it feels like an impact weapon.
Yeah.
All right, so it's helping you up here in a big way.
Okay. All right. Okay. So if you're not panicked, but if you're like, okay, like, I'm not panicked, I don't feel like I need to get hatchet, you can skip that, right? But if you really like, holy fuck, I just need to go. Okay, cool. Yeah. So optional one is buy a hatchet. Well, that's a war hatchet.
If you want cool one, there's cool ones too, right? $20 or $400. Doesn't matter.
Well, dude, you're not going to Home Depot and buying that badass hatchet.
No. Brought to you by Hardee's. No.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly. All right. So next, all right. So, all right. So, let's say I make my decision on that or not. You're coaching me through this. Okay, cool. Hatchet. What's next?
Next step in my mind is an airsoft gun. And this is actually one where the other military dudes start like giving me a ration of shit. And that's LARPing. And like, why would you recommend that? Those are guys that didn't train competitive. All right. because one thing that an airsoft gun will do, especially these modern ones that are all cool and they start like $150, all the mechanics of the gun are exactly the same as a real gun. Yeah, there we go.
I got one. So if you're listening on the podcast, this is a SIG 320 carry. And it's got the the little orange thing, so it's clearly a airsoft gun. But dude, the mechanics are exactly the same. It is the same weapon made by SIG. The internals are just different. It shoots a little plastic pellet. Boom.
It's even very close in the weight. Like the slides have to be a little different weight. But yeah, it's really close.
Yeah.
All right. So the advantage of having this is, like, let's say that you've never held one before and you're screwing around with that thing and you shoot yourself in the hand. Now, you shot that gun and it's going to hurt, right?
Yeah,
right?
I've taken some air shot stuff. It hurts, but it's like, whatever. It doesn't even break the skin. It just stings.
That's the point. Like, you screw up, there's a consequence, but you're not going to actually, like, kill yourself or need to go to the ER.
Right.
It's big. And again, a lot of tactical dudes dismiss the airsoft gun, but they're missing important things. Like, there was a kid that came over, I think it was like 2008 from Japan, had never shot a real gun before. He'd only trained airsoft.
Right.
He won the Steel Challenge, which is an event that happens every year. It's this huge national shooting contest. He beat a legend of the shooting community, Casey Acibio, with 2 years or 3 years on an airsoft gun and 30 days of real live fire training.
Get the fuck out of here.
No, fucking serious heart attack. Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah, I referenced that in one of the two books. It's real. You can look it up right now. I'll send you the link.
What am I, like, I'm going to fucking call, come on, like, what? No, but I will just say, I was skeptical about this when you told me this. I'm like,
a lot of people think it's
I'm like, this motherfucker used to kill people for the U.S. government. He's telling me to buy a fucking kit gun? What the fuck's wrong with him? Like, truly, I really did.
Yeah.
And then this past weekend, I took Bill Rapier's Force on Force course and had to bring an airsoft gun, and now I get it. Because, like, we ran super realistic scenarios, and, like, it feels and runs just like my gun, right? Because I have an X carry, so it's the same gun, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, it was badass because we could run super good. Dude, we had drills where we were like 10 yards away drawing on each other, like speed drills, right?
Yeah.
And, like, I'm plugging dudes in the face with this, and I'm like, this is awesome. And it's
fucking legit.
Nothing like shooting steel or paper. Nothing.
Oh,
nothing drawing on you. And there's plenty I lost, man. Like, one dude, I'll never forget, he hit it, I mean, square between my eyes, and I got one of those fencing mask type things. And so the airsoft gun, the pellet blew up in my face, and then it's like, holy shit, like, that was intense. Like, but it's awesome training.
It's fucking great.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic. I think a lot of tactical guys dismiss it for this reason. The one thing that's not true of an airsoft gun to a real gun is a recoil. It's not. Who gives a fuck? Especially when we're talking like close range confrontation.
Yeah.
Or one of the most important things also that our new guys do learn how to do, which is draw and shoot that first shot out of the holster.
Yes.
Recoil doesn't matter.
No.
You could hold the gun like this for one shot and still make a hit. It's going to train you for that first shot.
Right.
So it's going to train the mechanics. It's going to train that first shot.
The other thing that Rapier told me, tell me if this is accurate, is that, or it might not have been Bill, it might have been one of his dudes, said that, like, your training on an airsoft gun is similar to training on a CERT in that it's going to ingrain better shooting habits because of the lack of recoil. Is that correct?
To some degree, it's right. Yeah.
Okay.
To some degree.
All right, cool.
I go both ways on that. Yes, it allows you to make more of a better shot without thinking about the recoil. The one thing that it's really going to hurt you on, and we'll cover this in a later podcast, is because there's no recoil, it allows you to get away without having what we would call a crushing grip with the non-dominant hand on the pistol.
Yeah, right, of course.
Yeah. So there's only two. That's one of the drawbacks. And the other one is if you're trying to shoot at any kind of range,
right,
it develops this habit of starting to watch the bullet because it's so slow you can see it.
Yeah.
So you have to mentally just get past that.
Yeah, we were all training at 10 yards or less with this.
Right.
It's all like, cause it was a combatives course, so it was all very close range, but
right.
Yeah.
But that's that's pretty much the only two problems. And I tell people this too, from also me having been a high level competitive shooter. Every pro on the circuit has a set of airsoft guns that are just like his real guns because he's got an airsoft range in his garage so he can train every day.
Okay. So that's cool. I'm not trying to be a competitive shooter,
No, you're not.
right?
But
So like,
now you've got a range at your house.
yes,
Most people don't.
yes,
So having, even in your living room, whatever, if you live in an apartment, having somewhere that you can train for 10 or 15 minutes a day is a whole lot better than going out every Sunday
all right.
and training for 5
Then I have a question for you. Okay, sure. So let's say someone's taking this seriously. And a lot of my friends, people who I know, like, okay, if let's say they can only get one, airsoft gun or SIRT gun.
I like airsoft better.
Okay, so people who don't know, a SIRT gun is the exact same thing as airsoft, and that looks and feels just like a real gun, except it shoots a little laser out. And so like it's a training tool as well. So like we actually were shooting trick guns too at Bill's thing, although mainly airsoft. You like, so if I have both because thank God I have money, but if I had to pick one, you're saying airsoft.
I like airsoft. Now I can see the benefit of SIRT as well, because you can do impact training.
Right.
And if I'm assessing this from the world that we live in right now is more street crime oriented than combat, although that part's coming too. But right now it's more street crime because the SIRT gun can also do all the impact stuff. For some people, the SIRT's going to be right. For the majority of people, you can't do that with airsoft gun. It'll break. Yeah. For most people, the airsoft gun, I feel like is going to be right.
Yeah. I for my limited experience, because dude, I'm so excited to take this home now to Texas and get one or two other friends, even my 7-year-old son now.
Oh yeah.
Like we can like play with it, but like also train. Like it's training for me, like having him run and then shoot a moving target is like, that's like, I was listening to this podcast with Tom Kyer, Sayat Khalid, Tom Kyer, and he was talking about how he trains, because he's like one of the dudes that Delta brings into training, like in those guys. And SEAL Team 6 or whatever they're called. And he was talking about it because he had to pay his people so much money because like they'll get up from a desk and run across the room and he'll have the dude practice that, like drill it all day long. And so he's like, no one wants to get shot 900 times with simunition, right? And so like, but like, that's going to be so much fun, even with just my son. Like, because it's going to make me a way better shot, right? Because I'm going to have to shoot a movie. Everyone goes to the range and you stand there, like, blink. But that's net. Have you ever been where you stand there and shoot at a stationary target?
Very, very, very rare. Almost never. Okay. No, that the moving piece is a huge piece, as well as like even against your 7-year-old son. Think about it this way: now you're engaged with another human being that's also trying to kill you, even if we're just playing.
Yeah, right? Of course.
That's effectively like going back to like Apache war games. It really is. They shoot each other with kids would shoot each other with fake bows.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. It is actually valuable training. The really funny part about this, that the stigma of airsofters, because they're a bunch of nerds for a lot of years, is part of what keeps this out of the tactical training community. You got to get past it.
I get it though, because I had to go for long weird reason to find this X carry in short notice because of it. It doesn't matter. I had to go to an airsoft store in a mall in Georgia, and like I walked in and I'm like, it's an airsoft store, and they also had like a range in the back, right? Like an indoor, not a range, but like an indoor shooting gallery type thing.
Yeah.
And like I walk in, and the place is not packed, but there's a lot of people there, and not one of them looks a day over 18. And like, I guess a lot of people think I look like a cop for some reason, short hair or whatever. And like, there's like kids behind the counter, but they look like the kids not behind the counter. They all look the same. And like the one dude puts his hand on his gun, which I'm assuming is an airsoft gun. And when I come in, I think he thought I was like a cop or something. And I'm like, I look at him, he's like, yeah. They just say, can I help you? Nothing. I'm like, I want to buy this airsoft gun. He goes, Oh, okay. I think he thought I was going to come in. I don't know what he thought, man. But they were all children. Seriously. Yeah. And goofy, nerdy, dorky kids. Yeah. But not like lame, not nerds like bookish. They were almost like, you know what it felt like? They felt like the kids that would have been like car losers 10 or 20 years ago, and they found airsoft. And now it's like, which is cool. Good for them. I wasn't judging them. But like, I think maybe they're used to that or something. I don't know. It's a weird group of people, though.
It is totally weird. Now, listen to this, too. Those dudes, a lot of those dudes were they were kind of the butt of a lot of jokes for like the last 20 years. And, I'm just being honest about that. Here's the great irony. Those dudes, especially the nerds that do what they call milsim, which they like, dudes will buy like Steel 260.
Dude, they were all dressed up in all kinds of like CQB
They actually
gear.
pick with their little units and shit too. Like there'll be guys that, all this bullshit. But they actually
awesome at CQB, aren't they?
Yes.
They would have to be. That's what they do all day.
That's what they do today.
Right.
As well as when you take some of the nerd shit out of it, they're actually tactically better trained than a lot of fucking gun guys. Especially
that's what I'm saying. Like I was actually, if I'd had more time, I would have gone in there and run through some shit. I would have been. I'm at least double the age of anyone in there, but I totally would have, because I know they would have fucked my world up, but I would have gotten a lot better.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The only other thing that you really lose when you talk about like force on force with airsoft guns,
right?
And we saw this in the military the same way with simunitions, which is a little, okay. The one thing you have to do is you got to have a mature training partner in a lot of ways for a lot of things, because you will start doing things that you would not do in a normal situation because the fear is not there.
Oh yeah.
Look, man, I do it. As an instructor, I would like pull the plug when dudes started doing like too much hero shit.
Yeah.
Because you've mentally gone from training now to play. And so you just have to be careful about that. Like that's different. That's going to give you some value, but always know that that's play.
Okay.
When you get like a dude that's your age that you're going to actually do stuff with, know that there's going to be a limit on your time that you can do it before you start getting, too fucking weird.
Yeah. Problem, my guess is it's kind of like in jiu-jitsu, right? Like you've got to make consequences, right? So like whoever wins the most, or so people are taking it seriously, and then okay, yeah. All right, cool. All right, so got my airsoft gun, right? All right. So just super quick, look, I bought the airsoft gun. Let's just say, I am your client, but let's say I'm the new client, right? What do I do? Do I train with it now, or do I go get a full, like, what's the next step with this? Or put it aside, or what?
No, I mean, you need to start doing some really basic training, like unloaded and loaded 10 times a day.
So it's racking the slide, dry firing, maybe even firing it, stuff like that.
Dropping the magazine,
right?
Racking the slide, making sure it's clear, putting it away, and then reloading it.
Right.
Just the simple mechanism of loading and unloading is going to start to get your brain thinking about this as a real lethal weapon.
So, hey, so I'm going to ask the questions that most people have they're afraid to ask.
Sure.
And I know because I used to have them. So I can promise you, most people, everyone has seen John Wick or whatever, right?
Yep.
Most people have not actually used a handle, right?
Yes.
Even a lot of people, like, the last 3 years, something like 10 million new gun owners, I'll bet any amount of money, half of them never fired the gun.
Me too.
Okay. Yep. And a few of them fired it like at the range when they bought it, and that was it.
One time.
Right.
Yep.
So, okay.
Yep.
So, like, is there a video, or do you have one on your site where, like, you literally go over the absolute dummy basics of, like, okay, this is a pistol, this is where the bullet comes out, this is the trigger, and not being condescending.
Right. No, totally.
Dude, racking the slide and then hitting the release, to lock it back. I'll never forget the first time I used a pistol, like because I had a revolver until I was in my 20s. So I actually didn't know how an automatic.
You fucking fud.
No, because my grandfather gave it to me. So it was like my grandfather's like Cowboy 38, which is like a real gun.
Look at Wyatt Earp over here.
Okay. No, seriously. And so and so the first time I held an automatic, I'm like, oh, of course I can use it. I've been playing, whatever, Call of Duty for a decade.
Right.
And then I was like, oh fuck, what do I do? Like, I'm serious. Like, I know how to pull a trigger, and then I can. Yeah. I even knew that I get lucky, pulling the slide, and you've seen it enough. But locking the slide back, and then the basics of the release. What is this called actually? What's
it's called the takedown lever.
Okay, right. Like, take that. You see Jackie Chan do it in movies, but like understanding like how the takedown, all that, just the absolute, like the shit that a gun guy would be like, why the fuck are you showing me this? Like, do you have a video like that?
Bro, we're going to make one. We're catching up on a lot of video stuff right now. We're way behind on it, but that's going to be one of the first things we make is how to do that. because one, how you do it, there's actually like some little steps in there that make the difference between like, I actually know what I'm doing and I'm a fucking chucklehead.
Yeah.
So you need to learn all the right sequence. Second thing, yeah, safety is obviously important. And number three, like if you're a dude and you don't live in the southeastern Texas, you take a girl on a gun range date, like you better know your shit and you better make sure that she doesn't shoot you or the ceiling.
So
if she's if she's from Georgia or Texas, like she's already got it. Yeah, no, get it right.
Or Tennessee. My wife, I knew she. No, but once I like got my gun and then I figured it out, and then I wasn't good at it at all in my 20s, but I used to take girls on dates to gun ranges all the time. And I knew like this much, but they knew nothing, and so they thought I knew a lot. And I'm like, oh, and then I showed them the basics, and then of course it gives you an excuse to get all up on them and all that. It was fucking awesome. It was amazing.
I gotta clip this part. My wife's gonna watch this video.
It was amazing until the one girl kind of went nuts and then left a shot up gun target on my windshield when she broke up with me, or when I broke up with her. But yeah, that's actually in one of my books. All right, so airsoft secured. So basically, use the airsoft to learn how to manipulate a pistol. Go out back, you're in your garage even, and shoot it totally safe inside, right? Use little plastic pellets are no big deal, right? Shoot into like cardboard box or a mattress or what?
It depends on how high, how the velocity of your gun. Test it on a piece of sheetrock first. Make sure it's not going to make a dent. If it is, you got to just stack up some cardboard like this thick, and it'll stop it. Or go buy like a bullshit rug remnant from Home Depot. Hang that some bitch on the wall. Yeah,
there you go. Awesome. Yeah, because you don't want to be fucking up your drywall.
No, especially an apartment or some shit. Like no, fuck no. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So got my airsoft, started my manipulation, my training, and then I went to your site. I watched some videos. Okay, I got it. Okay, now I'm ready for the next step.
Well, I'm going to close out on here's the reason you're going to do all that shit with this fucking airsoft gun until you can do it in your sleep. Because the next step is going to be to go get a real gun and go get some training from someone. As an instructor that's teaching like new guys and shit, all right, I don't want to spend like 5 hours showing you how to load and unload your gun.
Yeah.
Now you can pay me for that and I will stand over your shoulder and teach you how to do it. But if you already know those mechanics, you're going to get so much more out of it.
We can start shooting.
Yes. Well, plus you're going to be less nervous. Here's one of the things that I can't remember if I covered one of the books, it's just something that I've said a lot of times. There's like 4 things that every man in the world, like the subconscious, like monkey level, thinks he knows better than every other man. Drive, fight, shoot, and fall. All right. Whereas in reality, most of those things are not true. So you have to, if you can get your mechanics down first so you don't feel like a chump when you're at your training thing, right, you're also going to be mentally in a better place to train.
Yeah. All right. Totally.
Okay.
So X is get a real gun, but pistol or rifle or what do you?
I'm torn on this. For most people, pistol's going to be the right answer.
So everyone thought we're on step 3 now, right? I got my airsoft dialed in. I'm ready. Get a gun. What gun?
Yep. It's going to come down to rifle or pistol. So pistol's the right answer for most people because, again, the world that we live in right now, I can carry this with me all the time. All right. It's actually a harder gun to master. So the more time that I put up front to this actually helps me with my rifle.
Hold on, stop for a second. This actually was a shock to me. But pistol is, and now I know this, right? But pistol is harder than rifle?
Oh, like 10 times.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is true. People like, I'm like, that sounds stupid to me. It's 100% correct. You know what's funny too, man? I remember, like Roman gladiators, Roman legionnaires, soldiers. Yep. They spent same with the Spartans. Spent way more time on their like short sword gladius than they did their whatever long is. I forget what the long spears are called. But like both the Romans and the Spartans use different spears, and like way more time. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. And then like someone who knows swords and this stuff was like, oh yeah, dude, it's way harder to use a short sword than as a spear. Spear is basically like 2 to 3 core movements and a few variations off of that, and you're done, right? Like they spent all their time either training their small weapons, short sword, or training moving in formation. Like that was like 80% of their time, maybe 20% on spear manipulation.
man, it really makes sense. Without even really knowing, just sitting there thinking about like things I can do with a spear and things I can do with a sword to like, hold it wrong. I'm sure it makes sense. And pistol and rifle is the same way. Pistol is like 10 times harder to master than rifle. And one of the things I've seen from, decades and decades of training people, I've never seen a good pistol shooter that couldn't shoot a rifle. I've seen plenty of like incredibly badass rifle shooters that couldn't shoot a pistol worth a fuck.
Hold on.
I mean, snipers and shit, like guys that are, competitive, like 1,000-yard shooters. I've seen them that are so good with a rifle, they can't shoot a pistol. I mean, they suck. So it is
like they're worse than me.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot. So,
so hold on. That brings up a question. Again, this is like, I got to ask the basic idiot questions, right? Like the civilian questions. All right. Well, if pistols weigh harder,
yep.
Would it make sense for me to just go to rifle and then rifle's my thing and I don't worry about this?
If hypothetically, like the Chinese invaded the West Coast today, yes.
Yeah, well, that's not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about a purple-haired Antifa dork who's like burning a can, and my wife turns a corner, and there he is.
Well, that's why we gave such a preposterous answer. If we were only going to go fight, like, no shit, like armies in the fucking streets and shit, yeah, you'd get away with just wearing rifle. And your pistol.
Like if you were in the Ukraine right now, just fuck pistols, just go straight to rifle.
Okay. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Because no matter what, even if I just learned how to load and unload this little guy,
yeah.
All right, and I can still use it like contact range. I can like grab somebody. I can't. So that's fine. Yeah. Now, for the world that we live in, where crime is a lot more of a problem,
yeah,
I need to be able to carry something outside of my home to defend myself with.
Yeah,
you have to have a pistol. You have to learn the pistol because it's the only thing you can really conceal and carry all the time. I guess you could like walk around with like a AR on your chin. It'd be fucking ridiculous to me.
Oh, dude, don't be that guy.
Right. It's fucking ludicrous.
Okay, so for most people, if you're for self-defense, like, because I think probably hopefully almost everyone listening this to learn is not like, oh, I'm trying to be the Antifa guy. I'm trying to defend myself against that dude. So the pistol is the best place to start because concealment. And because most engagements are going to be short range, and short range engagements, pistols are actually probably more effective, right?
Especially if we're talking about like street crime, most of that's going to be at like contact range or maybe 5 feet at most,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Pistol. All right. So walk me through how to think about, like, you don't have to go like crazy every detail, but like, what do I do? Like, how do I pick a pistol?
Okay, now we got to take another branching path. I feel we're playing fucking Final Fantasy and we got to like get our characters like, oh, I'm going to be a white mage that has some red magic, some bullshit.
No, you're a secret fucking nerd, aren't you? Talking about Final Fantasy.
Dude, I've got some comic books. That is fucking true.
That's funny.
All right, the next thing you got to decide is, do I want a big pistol or a little pistol? Basically, that means like a full-size pistol or a concealed carry pistol. Give me 1 second. I'm actually going to grab some off my shelf here. Right, and this is probably the most controversial opinion that I have compared to some other gun guys. Is, do I want a full size gun?
What is that? That's like I don't know what that is.
That's an XDM and 10 millimeter. So it's kind of a ridiculous size gun. But I want a full size gun like this,
right?
Or do I want a small concealed carry gun that's easier to conceal?
What's that?
This is a Springfield Hellcat.
Oh yeah, so that's like Springfield Hellcat and SIG 365 are two of the those are like right. Okay, I see. Yeah.
So that's basically just a Springfield setup. That's hang on, let me yell at these fucking dogs.
What it is?
We're gonna have an out reel and put that in. Sharp fucking idiots. All right, so like full size pistol. All right, so what just to make things complicated, I carry a X carry, right?
Yep.
You consider this full size, or is there an in between thing, or what?
I consider that a hybrid. So that's basically like
It's
between
I think 4-inch barrel or something.
4-inch barrel, yeah, and a full size grip. This is actually the same thing, only from a different company.
Okay.
So it's a shorter slide, a longer grip, so you get a full purchase on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's still got the width and stuff that's like a full size gun.
Yeah. Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah, so really it's kind of like an in between.
Yeah. So if you look at a 320, like a normal, say, like what the military carries, the military sidearm, same thing. It's just like that much longer,
Exactly.
basically. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, you're gonna have to pick between which of those classes of gun that you want. The bigger the gun is, generally speaking, the easier it is to shoot, but the harder it is to conceal. So you kind of got to figure out which one is right for you.
Yeah.
And another way to look at that is like look at the like the magazine well difference between a full size and a tiny gun.
Right.
So the small gun is going to be harder to grip correctly. It's going to be harder to shoot, but it is going to be easier to conceal.
Yeah.
Years and years ago, I would have always told you had to go for a full size pistol first.
Yeah.
You just did. Then, especially with the advent of the P365, they invented this class of guns that's actually pretty easy to shoot for a little tiny gun. Like they shoot really well. So once those guns came out and I started playing with them, I kind of came to the conclusion that for a lot of people, you could get away with just one of these.
What is that class of gun called? Compact?
They don't even really have a name. They call them micro nines, I guess is what they started calling them. I call them 1.5 stacks because that was really like the best description of them. They have this weird magazine that on 13 rounds of 9mm,
right,
in like a little very small package, which is almost the same as a Glock 19, which is the same size as your gun.
Yeah,
it's like 2 rounds short, so it's really kind of magic how they did that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, either a micro 9 or a 1.5 stack, whatever you want to call it. There's 3 that are on the market right now.
You have this on your site. The 2 that you recommend are the small, the micro 9s are either the Springfield Hellcat or the P365, right?
Or the Glock 43X, if you're a Glock guy.
Okay, right. Glock 43X. Yeah.
So basically, the long story short of this, picking which gun, you kind of need to pick which family of pistols that you like, because the little ones then feel like the big ones. All right, it's just like they're scaling up. So if I'm a SIG guy on a little gun, on a micro 9,
right,
well, then when I buy a full-size pistol, I want to buy a SIG again. If I bought a Glock 43X, all right, then I'm going to buy a Glock 19X, and so on and so forth. As close as you can, you keep them in the same family because they feel the same way ergonomically when you start using them.
Yeah. So I don't know what you recommend. What I did, man, when I did, because this is before I had you hired you, unfortunately, but like I went to a gun range that rented handguns.
Yeah.
And I think they rented like 40 handguns, and I tried like 32 of them or something. The dude was so tired of me. He's like, seriously, he's like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I need to try them all. How will I know? He's like, you have to try all of them? And I'm like, no, like, what's wrong with you, man? And so, yeah, like I shot tons of Glocks, tons of, HKs, tons of SIGs, obviously, which what I ended up with. Springfields I shot.
Yep.
Right. I shot a Taurus, which was terrible. I shot but there's a couple of other. What are the 5? You said there's like 5 big brands. Like these are the 5 you want to go with. Like Glock and SIG. I know. What else?
Yeah. Well, hang on, back up 1 second. The other reason that we're going with one of those 5 is because of the accessories. If you start getting some like Wazoo fucking weird ass brand, nobody makes a holster for it. There's no fucking magazines. So it's pretty much got to be one of the 5, I think, or 6. So we've got Glock, SIG, Springfield Armory, FN, really decent pistol in the 509 series,
right.
Smith & Wesson. Did I leave one out? If
no,
I did, it's
fine.
on the website.
That's fine.
But basically, yeah, it's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
You just pretty much have to pick one of those because of parts availability.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, HK 9.
Yeah, right. HK, that's actually sick.
Yes. That is.
So I tried all those families plus tons of others. I almost went with FN. It actually pisses me off. Their guns, like a year and a half ago, were way more expensive. The 509, they brought the price way down.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Because Tim Kennedy's a good friend of mine. I've been rolling with him for years. He's I think he's FN sponsors him, so he just shut up about the SCAR and the 509. Like they're getting their money's worth, right? Of course, man. They definitely get their money's worth from him. And I like those a lot, but it was like I like the SIG maybe 2% less, but like it was 50% more for an FN. The prices come way down though. So if I had to do it all, if I do it all again, I might go FN now. Although the thing I like about SIG is Glock has the most accessories and the widest thing. Yep. I can see why people like Glocks. I just didn't like it. But SIG has a ton. There's tons of SIG shit. Yeah. FN's a little harder to find. Not hard, but hard.
Well, there's SIG got the military contract, which means now everybody makes everything. Yeah. But here's the bottom line, man, with pistols. Like, they're all pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
It really comes down to, like, which one fits well in your hand and which one can I get parts for. Which one's best? Like, who fucking cares? Like, it doesn't matter. There's whichever one feels good in your hand that you like to shoot is the one that you should buy.
So any of those 6 brands, just go shoot them all, figure out the family you like better. You're good.
Honestly, you don't even have to shoot them. You can go to the gun range counter and hold them all one after the other. And generally speaking...
Really?
Yeah, even so that it doesn't mean shit. Whichever one feels good in your hand is going to be the ones that are right fit for you. It's
really? You don't think you need to shoot them?
Nope.
Huh.
I know that sounds like an absurd statement, but most of the time.
I'm used to it now. 30% of what you say makes no sense to me and then it usually almost every single time. It's like, oh, I guess he's right. It looks like he knows what he's talking about. But like,
my wife says the same thing, except for the I guess he's right part. Motherfucker.
Yeah, no, I never would have guessed that. That's amazing. Huh.
It is. You know, man, honestly, you can feel about the same thing about knives, like a lot of other weapons, like just like how they feel, like when you pick them up, you can tell, I don't know if it's like some hardwired fucking caveman shit or what, but you can generally tell something that's good quality and something that's a piece of shit just by how it feels. And that's even inexperienced dudes. You know, just, like I said, man, it's just weird. It's how it is.
Okay. All right. So, any advice or like, where do I buy the pistol? Just buy it from the gun range I'm at, or does any of that matter or what?
Not really. You're not going to get the margin on guns. I know this from being an industry insider too. Margin on guns is like $50. It's not much. Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
Really? So like if you buy the gun from SIG, it's $50 less than from the gun store, if that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And it still has to go through the gun store. So go to I prefer to go to my local gun shop, like the little gun shop. Because we keep those dudes in business. That way we don't get, dixed. Like Dick's probably his gun shops out of business and stop selling guns because they're assholes.
Yeah.
Support your local guy. He's also going to take better care of you. Now, one thing you don't want to do, even though I just said good things about the local gun shop, is go to the local gun shop and ask their opinion. Because I promise you, 99.9% of the time, that guy doesn't know shit about shit. It's just most of the guys that run gun shops are not shooters, really. They're more like collectors. So don't ask the dude's advice. Just tell them what you want to look at and buy it.
This is the reason I had to come find you and bring you on here, is like, I love gun guys if I want to talk about esoteric gun shit.
Yeah.
Right? But gun guys are horrible to listen to until you are in the weeds of guns.
Right. Yeah.
Like if you're like a beginner or you're thinking about something or you're trying to understand something with context, truly gun people are actually the worst people to talk to because they're so deep in their world they can't see or don't see outside of it. It's why I hired you. It's because you're a gun dude who doesn't think like a gun dude. At least, like, when you're talking to me, you're like, okay, he's a civilian. I'm going to think like a civilian now and just give him the info, right? So yeah, I can't. You're 100% right about that. I did that like early on. Went in. I did a Red's gun range in Austin, or like Georgetown, where it's like a super famous place. Those guys are crazy knowledgeable, man. Like they really know their shit. And then I asked the dude, like, what pistol would you recommend? And I mean, for fucking 2 hours, it's on and on about. And then he eventually tells me to get like, God, what was it? Like he didn't ask me one question about myself, actually, that was the red flag for me.
Oh, wow.
And then he recommended, he recommended like not a staccato and not a 1911, but whatever the mid range of that is of 45.
Oh,
I can't even remember the brand. It might have been a Springfield, but it was a 45, and it was like a 1911 platform.
Oh no!
Right? And you know, it's like a what is it called when it has the hammer fire, right?
Single action, got it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I knew just about enough about guns then to be like, I don't think this guy's giving me good advice.
No, man. And, you know, again, good on those.
Oh, and by the way,
yeah,
the other red flag, it was the exact gun he was carrying on him.
There you go.
And I was like, I think you and I have different needs.
But I'm gonna give you a for instance that goes right along with that. Like you're gonna see me carrying a Glock. You're gonna see me shooting a Glock. You're gonna see that I've done a Glock poster one time because I shot a Glock so much.
Right.
Glocks have built-in weaknesses. Actually, they have the shittiest triggers of the 6 brands I recommended, which you cannot fix. It can't be done. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just gonna have a shitty trigger until the day you die. I wouldn't even get Glocks now if I was starting over. I have to stick with Glocks because that was my army gun. So that became my race gun. And then I shot like 2 million rounds on it. I'm stuck with it. Yeah. You know, I've been driving left-handed and a stick shift for 20 years now. It would take me so much effort to switch to a new gun that I'm stuck with that.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean because I carry a Glock that you should carry a Glock. Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's how you got to think about this stuff.
Yeah. To people who ask me what gun do I buy, and like they're just like, I'm like, first off, what are you fucking asking me? But like, there's plenty of people who know way less than me, and I always tell people like to just go buy it, and I don't want to think. Just tell me what to do. Is the answer is Glock 17 because it's so reliable and so common. Like 80% of cops carry it. It's like it's everywhere, and it's a super good gun. But yeah, like it's not the gun I would pick either.
Right. Yeah. It's not the gun that I would recommend most of the time now. For you, like, you know, we did this over again. I would not put you on a Glock 34 because I'm on a Glock 34.
No,
that makes sense.
Okay. So I get my gun, right? I got my X carry. Yep. Well, is there anything else I need to get? Tell me the universe of the pistol that I need. Like, what are the things I got to do?
Now the fun part begins. So you've bought your pistol. You've decided your religion. You're Catholic. You're Catholic. Yeah. You're Catholic. I'm Buddhist over my Glock. You know, whatever bullshit. Anyway, now I got to buy some shit to go with it. And that's really where the fun starts. Now, your size of pistol, Tucker, you can carry this. Yep. I did it for years. A lot of us that are my age, like we carried a Glock 19 for, you know, all the time. It's the same size.
Yeah.
So the next thing you got to do is you got to get a holster. And you got to get some spare magazines. Especially if that's your only gun right now. Like that's your like everything, like fucking Antifa shooting with 100 dudes outside. This is
right. This is what you got. My X carry. I mean, I have like I can't remember. I think they come with 3 mags. Is that enough, or should I get more? Like pretending I'm a beginner.
You need at least 5, and I say preferably 10.
10 pistol magazines.
Yeah.
If with one gun, not 10 per
one gun.
10 per gun.
Yeah, 10 per gun. Yeah, 10 per gun.
Fuck all, dude. I don't even know, 6 or 8 SIGs. I'm not buying 80 magazines. That's nonsense.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're a family of pistols. I'd say if you only have one gun, you need 10 magazines for it. If you have 8 fucking SIGs, oh shit, man, I don't know. Fucking, you have 10. You can't carry all 8 SIGs, right?
If I was Josie Wales, I could. Josie Wales did carry 8 guns.
You did Boondock Saints. He was like, what if it was one guy with 6 guns? No, that's excessive. But for your primary duty gun, you do need 10. All right, that's 5 that you can load up at any time and just have ready to fucking rock and roll. And then 5 empty ones that you can train and do dry fire. But if things get really scary, like, oh, there's a fucking riot outside, I take my magazines, I load those some bitches up, and now I've got a lot of bullets. That's like 170 rounds in pistol magazines. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good, like, don't mess with me number of bullets.
Ooh, that is actually new. I did not know that. That is news for me. I mean, I'm sure I have, because I have 10. You know, each SIG comes with 3, so I have like 20 or 30. But I was thinking 10 per. Okay, so like 5 is the minimum, and you keep 5 loaded with your like whatever hollow point, like the shit you shoot people with.
Normally I keep 3, but I don't dislike having 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well,
With like my good bullets. Yeah.
so, all right, 5 magazines minimum, ideally some more. Okay.
Yep.
Now, holster.
Okay. This is where things get really fun. As a gun dude, you're going to end up with like, I don't know, like $300 worth of holsters you fucking hate. That's just, it's just.
So, well, how do okay. I got money. It's fine. I can deal with it.
Yep.
Let's say I don't. And I'm like, I'm on, I'm on the budget plan.
Yep.
Right. Like, how do I get a holster? It doesn't have to be perfect, great. So how do I get a good, solid holster my first or maybe second time?
I think you're in the same one or same brand for a decade and a half. For me, it just really works well. I carry crossbreeds, and I like these reckoning ones for little guns. Right. If you go to the website, I've actually got a recommendation where they spread the leather out a little bit.
Yeah.
If I'm carrying a bigger gun like you are. I tried all the holsters out there. That was the one that worked best for me. It's going to be a pretty good solution for everybody. It may not be perfect for you. But if you got money and you want to like try some other shit, you're going to end up doing it. That's fine. The crossbreed is going to be pretty good. I say across the board for any gun. It's going to be like an 80% solution for everybody.
Yeah. So what about, okay. So again, dumb person question.
Yep.
So, let's start with the basic. Holster was a thing. It took me a long time to learn and figure this out.
Yeah.
This was before I hired you. And still, dude, I just ordered a crossbreed holster and I just ordered a black point. I just ordered a tier 1 because now I realized I'm going to carry inside the waistband because I thought I was going to carry in a fanny pack, which I did for about 6 months or a year. And like, there were advantages to it for me, like, cause it's like, like it's easy, it's accessible, it's right there. And then you kept telling, to your credit, you kept telling me, dude, like and it wasn't aesthetics. You were like, that's not gonna work. And I'm like, Clay, what do you know, man? You've been shooting people for 20 years. Like, just like let me lead here, right? And then I went to Bill's quarters. And I brought that, and he like laughed at me. He's like, "All right, let's see how that works for you." It didn't work. It didn't work well. I got fucking my ass handed to me. And what's funny is I went from getting my ass handed to me very clearly with a fanny pack, because like I said, we were doing the draw drills right with these, and so like I was just getting plugged. I brought an inside the waistband holster with me just in case, because went to that, and then I started plugging people. Like that's the only thing I was good at. The whole thing is a quick draw on that, right? So let's talk first about with holsters. Where are you carrying? Because I bought like all these holsters because I didn't even know the fucking difference.
Nice.
Right. No, seriously. Like I bought 2 holsters, and I'm like, what is outside and inside the waistband? What does this mean?
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. No, man. Hey. And again, this is also one of the reasons I'm really glad you're there to like, kind of catch me when we're getting too far out there. There are all these words that like mean shit also. If you're stepping into like defensive world, you're going to kind of learn some Latin along the way, or, fucking Spanish, whatever you want to call it. It is like speaking a foreign language. So you got to kind of like learn some of this bullshit. So inside the waistband just means it goes inside your pants. OWB, outside the waistband, means that it sits on your pants.
So like this is inside.
There we go. That's inside. Yep.
Right there.
Yep. That's inside.
Outside would be like
right there.
That.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
And believe it or not, depending on how you dress, you could actually conceal either way. Now I'm a t-shirt and jeans kind of dude, and you kind of, that's how I think most American males dress. Yeah. So pretty much means we're stuck with inside the waistband.
Yeah.
It's kind of, if you want to wear some like, Cuban flowing shirts and shit like that, you can get by with some outside the waistband, or, God forbid, the fucking fishing vest of death. You can do that too. Aviator sunglasses, a trucker cat, whatever. Now, but for most of us, if you're going to conceal the damn thing, you're going to carry it inside the waistband. Yeah. So with that, that's an IWB. You've got the choice of what's called Appendix Carry or strong side. So
appendix means in the front right here, literally where I'm showing you a video, right there where your appendix is.
Yep.
Basically, it can be down the middle or here. But
right.
That's basically appendix, right?
That's basically appendix. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So there are advantages to appendix. I will grant. And you're going to hear a lot of bullshit about appendix because it got to be very popular about like 2006. A lot of protection dudes started going to appendix. It was like all the cool shit. If you didn't carry appendix, you weren't cool. You sucked.
Yeah.
And I will say that it's very fast to get it out.
Yeah.
As well as for certain types of like clinching that we expect to have in a very close quarters combat situation.
Right.
There are other advantages in that. Let me back the camera up just a little bit. There are advantages in that if I'm clinched, all right, it's very easy to get it out where it needs to be. Whereas if I move my arm back here to get my gun,
It'll take a little more time. Yeah.
It takes a little bit more time, and also you're a grappler. How much of a good position will that for me?
That's not good. I'm taking that Kimura right away.
Yeah, exactly. So there are advantages to that appendix. It's keeping my hands center line. All right, it's very fast. All right. For me, it's very uncomfortable. I just don't like it.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it sucks. It's shitty and uncomfortable. A lot of it depends on like body type too. A lot of times, like really skinny dudes can get away with it. Anybody with like a little bit of meat on them, extra medium, it's not gonna work. So
that is the word you're looking for, Claire.
No, extra medium, big butt, big butt,
husky,
fucking husky. I'm gonna go to the Victoria. There's like the whole Victoria's Secret work for this now. It's like, I don't know, plus size gun model. You know, some fucking bullshit.
Plus size gun model. That'd be amazing. So, can I try these on at a gun store? Like, will they let? Cause like, which I know they do, because most of the holsters come in like packages you can open, so you can take out and kind of hold and stuff, right?
Yeah, but you're gonna be very hard pressed to find one of these at a gun store that's not a pile of shit. Most gun stores, when it comes to accessories, they carry fucking junk.
Yeah,
just it's fucking.
Even like Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, we're supposed to have
there's a worst. Fuck yes, this shit awful for the most part. Now, occasionally there's some good stuff in there, like Safari Lunch, but it's usually a very small segment. Mostly they're selling like just fucking garbage. One of the classics is what we call Uncle Mike's. If it says Uncle Mike's, I just don't buy it. It sucks.
Yeah.
So, last thing about appendix. For new gun guys especially, it's a lot harder to point this loaded gun at their twigs and berries.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like I get
penis
5 minutes
is the word you're looking for. Yeah,
what's that?
Penis. I don't want to point the gun at my penis. I don't want to be Plexico Burris.
Right. Exactly. You don't. And I get that also. Even like being an experienced gun guy, when I tried appendix for a little while, it made me a little uncomfortable. Like, I like that shit. Like, it's useful for me. Like, I want to keep it. I'm not.
Yeah. No, I'm a fan of my penis and balls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So that's kind of the appendix thing. The next choice is what we call strong side carry.
So that would be like on the hip, basically, like the side. Like
basically, I'm looking for this hollow, like between my butt cheek and my hip bone. That's gonna set like right there.
Yeah,
under my t-shirt. All right. So that's called strong side carry. It's the second fastest.
Right.
As I showed you, like with a confrontation, like it does create some problems. They're pretty quick to get though. So it's kind of a balanced thing. As well as I will also say certain other kinds of like shielding moves. All right. Being able to turn my gun away from you.
Yeah. It's
while
big.
I hold you off with this.
Yeah. It's big. Yeah. Right. That's a fight.
Yeah, it actually presents some advantages. It might even be that I can use my reach in to get a gun out when I could not from appendix kit. So those are the strong. Those are the strong parts. All right. The last one's kind of ridiculous. It kind of went out with like Miami Vice and stuff.
Was like the back carry or something?
It's a small back.
Yeah.
So that should be the gun with right here.
Yeah.
So essentially what that usually means also, there's kind of a hollow between your butt cheeks and your other back.
Yeah.
And it'll hide a big gun. I will also say if you're carrying like a Glock 17 or something,
right,
it fits pretty nice right there.
Yeah.
Now the problems are it's the slowest.
Right.
All right.
Like it's hard to get back there.
Yeah.
There. Yeah.
Well, then once again from the grappler perspective.
Oh, you're fucked. Yeah. No.
Yeah,
if someone's on you, you're fucked.
Oh yeah, you're fucked. Yeah, it's done. If they have any kind of grappling knowledge, like you're having a fucking bad day.
Yeah.
And the third thing is the worst. A lot of cops started carrying this way back in like the late 70s, early 80s to get a full-size gun. Well, especially like places like New York where they fall on the ice and stuff. Had documented cases of dudes falling and landing on that gun and it breaks their spine.
Fuck off.
Think about that.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously, fucking heart attack. I mean, think about, landing your full body weight on this piece of metal right here. I'm like,
yeah, I know.
Break. Yeah, it's bad. So that one's kind of out the window. It's also very hard to tell when you've actually got it exposed. Like, your shirt reds up a little bit.
Yeah.
Now you're walking around with your fucking blaster hanging out. There have actually been at least one dude shot by the cops because of that. He was going to a Costco in like Las Vegas. Didn't know his shirt had ridden up, walked in, some kind of fucking weird kind of getting shot. So, yeah, things to know.
Yeah.
So because of that,
hold on, wait. We got to take it one step back on holster.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
All right. So that let's actually talk about because this was actually a thing for me, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And it is for most people. So you buy your gun, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you shoot it. Let's even say you shoot it at the range. You're like, by the way, pointing a gun at you through Zoom does not count as flagging you, right?
No.
Okay,
I hope not, because I've done it to you like 9 times.
Right, okay. So, practice with it on whatever. I'm good with it, right? But it actually took me a long time to start actually taking the gun with me anywhere.
Yeah.
Which is like absurd. But no, seriously, this was like buying the gun for a lot of people that it was a barrier, not the barrier anymore. But then the gun stays in the gun case, under their bed, locked up or whatever, and that's it. It doesn't go anywhere. But you're saying if you're gonna do this, you're doing it to carry it everywhere, right?
Yes, and that is nerve-wracking to start to do.
Yeah, dude. Even for me now, carrying in a fanny pack was way easier. Now I've started carrying on me, and it's it's taken me months or years to get to the point where first I understood it truly. I had to get my ass handed to me in simulated, stuff to understand. If I carry a fanny pack against someone who's not, I'm dead. That's it. Right. But then on top of that,
but a bad day.
Right. But then on top of that, understanding, if I'm actually worried about my safety, I'm actually serious about using this to protect myself and my family, it's got to be on me essentially all the time. Not in my house, maybe,
right.
But when I'm out of my house, it is it comes with me my keys and my wallet.
Yep, exactly. And it's a very, I started carrying 20 years ago. Actually, on my 21st birthday, I bought myself a pistol at the Marine Corps PX, the whole fucking, and I started carrying that day. Or, a week later when I got the license. I still remember what a nerve-wracking, experience it was to start, carrying, a fucking gun, in public. And it was, he was an experienced soldier by then. It was still it makes you feel fucking weird and awkward, man. It's not,
it is,
it's kind of not natural for us.
Yes.
It's just kind of something we've been taught our entire lives you don't do. Even if it was legal, we still don't feel like it's right.
Totally. So it seems super weird, man. Carrying it. Honestly, I just got to be straight about that. And then I don't get into loading, having it not just shit a loaded mag, but chambered on me. Where it's pull the trigger and the gun's going off. That's intense, dude.
This is actually going to surprise you. So late in my career, I actually taught a course that was for low-vis operators to start doing this kind of stuff. A lot of those dudes, we're talking experienced special forces soldiers, multiple combat tours and shit, they felt uncomfortable starting to carry a loaded gun all the time. Especially off base, outside of trainings. That's what I was telling them to do.
Yeah.
So, we're talking 32, 33-year-old Green Berets. So what I'm
glad I'm not a pussy. I'm glad it's all of us.
No, it is, man. It really is kind of universally fucking weird. Maybe not if you grew up in the south side of Philly, maybe it's, and I've had some teammates and shit that came to place like that. Maybe I'm going to go find one of them and ask them later. But for most of us, it is. It's unnatural. It's unnatural. It's weird. And it kind of makes you feel awkward and like you're breaking the rules and like you're a fuck up, like kind of all at the same time. And that's, you know, I don't know if there's an equivalent for men, but I imagine this is probably a lot like for like women, like when they start to grow boobs and now they're having to deal with this like attention.
Yeah.
I think for men, like it makes us feel probably a very similar way.
I think you are the only person who's ever compared boobs to a concealed handgun.
You give me enough time, I can compare boobs to anything. Throw those to my mind at all hours of the day. No, yeah, that is probably weird. Yeah, but I mean, I can't think of a better analogy. It's kind of what it feels like. So one of the ways that you can get around this, one of the ways that I got my dudes to start getting around this, go ahead and spend the $50 on like a fake gun. They call them blue guns or red guns.
Yeah.
That's an exact replica of your gun. All right, and preferably the red one, because the red one's like a big,
why not just my airsoft that I already bought?
Because that still looks like a firearm, and you're still kind of brandishing a firearm. You could do it with your airsoft gun as long as you're like a legal place.
Right.
That's fine. But it may still make you feel awkward. And this might even be something for you, man, as you're spending some more time with your holster tryouts.
Right.
Spend the $50 on the red gun. It's big, bright red. If in the worst case, if it falls out at the fucking diner, everybody knows it's a toy.
Yeah.
It's a fake gun. Like, it's not going to alarm anyone.
Yeah.
If one of the other things that feels, have you ever interacted with some law enforcement yet while you're carrying a gun?
Yes, many times in Texas, because I carry a gun in my car. I have a like this basically stays in my car, which now it stays on me, but it used to be when it was in my fanny pack, it stays in my car. And so, like, I've been pulled over plenty of times, and in Texas, you give them the carry conceal license with the license, and they ask you where the weapon is, and I tell them, and so, like, you get out of tickets that way too, honestly.
But you remember how weird it felt probably the first time?
Yeah, it was a little bit weird. It was like, crazy. Hey, dude with a gun, I have a gun.
It feels even weirder if you're like a city dude, you're like walking around and like, I don't know, for some reason, like, now you feel like you're sweating and, you know, you're looking at cops, they're looking at you because you're sweating like a fucking weirdo. Having that red gun taking a lot of that kind of like stress away. And like I said, in the worst case scenario, if you look like you're doing something fucking silly and they come and like stop you.
Right. And they see an imprint of a gun on your side. Right. Yeah.
But the second that thing is looked at, even actually an advantage for you dealing with cops is they've trained with those fucking same red and blue guns, and they know it's not real at a glance.
So you're saying to get used to it, carry a fake gun?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now that's kind of an extreme step. Not everybody's gonna have to do that, but if you find yourself as one of those dudes that's like very, very nervous about carrying your live gun, just carry the fucking fake one for a couple weeks everywhere you go. And as far as I know, there's not a place in the country besides the airport that it's actually illegal to carry a toy gun.
That would be some shit, wouldn't it? Illegal to carry a piece of plastic. Get out of here.
You got the fucking plywood gun from that one wooden gun. Yeah.
Well, so hold on. So I'm at the gun store. I pick my gun, I buy it, I get 5 magazines minimum, right? Yep. So holster, I'm not buying there, but maybe if I can try some out, see, like either. Let's talk about leather versus. So this plastic is called Kydex. Like it's a specific type of plastic, which I had to learn because I remember, the first time I went to one of Tim's courses, I didn't have a holster, and it says Kydex holster only. I'm like, the fuck is Kydex? It's plastic. Basically, it's a type of plastic. Which you could have said plastic holster.
Kydex is fancy for plastic.
Okay, so Kydex or leather, because there's some cool leather ones, right? Or
yes, there are.
Would you are there any leather where it's like you can make that your conceal holster or not?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, there's some good leather holsters out there. Okay, you got to look at it this way. Every choice in a holster has a weakness or a trade-off.
Right.
Like your Kydex holster there, over enough time, like a year or 2 years, it will actually crack and it will fall apart. Just from the heat and the compression of that plastic, it will break. It might even take 3 years, but it will break.
Really?
Yeah. A leather, as long as you buy from like a high quality leather guy like Mitch Rosen, I'm gonna say basically as long as you pay like $80 to $100 for it,
Right.
That's a good enough gear. Leather will last for a very long time, but eventually it will also wear out. Even like super thick gun leather. Gun leather, when it starts wearing out, you'll actually start to have problems. I'm using the extreme example here. Pliable, it could actually slip the trick that, you could like accidentally have your gun go off, cramming it back in the holster. Now we're talking years of use there if it's good quality gun leather.
Yeah.
But that's the trade-off with leather.
Okay.
And then something like crossbreed, the reason they call them that is it's both. It's a Kydex front that's held on by screws and a leather backer. I find the leather backer makes it more comfortable. Same thing with regular leather. It's to me, it's more comfortable. Kydex holds its retention a little bit better. Some people find it more comfortable. As well as one really nice thing about Kydex, it doesn't absorb moisture as much. So a lot of times your moisture will just run out. If I've got, leather next to my sweaty body all day,
Yeah, it's got all your fat
got
coming out. Yeah, right. It's disgusting.
that husky sweat coming out, like an extra medium sweat.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got to take this out pretty much every day, wipe it down, and at least a couple times a week, throw a little bit of oil on it so it doesn't start rusting.
Okay, I got you. All right, so magazines, looking at holsters, but probably going to order online, right? You got a whole, like a deep dive into holsters on your site, which I'll link all this.
Yeah,
okay. All right, so then what else at the gun store when I'm buying the pistol do I need? Let's just say you can get it at a gun store. Bullets.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of times I'll buy that bullet. Yeah. Well, and that's again, you're trained with your airsoft now. You've at least done something, so you're going to need some bullets. All right. So, which bullets do you want for that?
Hollow point, right?
Man,
not for trade.
Well, there's like a million,
right?
Right. Yeah. Basically, we call hollow points like carry ammo.
Yeah.
There's like 1,000 different brands of hollow points. For the most part, they're all pretty good now.
Yeah.
With some exception. There's like 3 or 4 brands that I tend to recommend just across the board. Hornady, Federal HRTs, G9s, that's what I normally carry, and a couple others. One thing that a lot of people don't do with their carry ammo that you should do, well, 2 things actually. Number 1, you want to overbuy that. You want to buy, like, even though they're expensive, like 3 times the price of regular ammo, you want to buy enough that you can shoot at least 20 through your concealed carry gun. Now, even with regular hollow points, but these ones here are a little bit extreme, right? Hollow points have kind of a flat face or, a hole. Right. So a lot of times they don't feed as well. A certain thing like an MP5 machine gun will not even work with hollow points most of the time. The round nose of a traditional full metal jacket actually feeds better. So hollow point designers have had a lot of years to work this out, and usually hollow points will just work, but you still want to check. You absolutely want to check. They're actually
so that's not just gun guy lore. Like, you really need to shoot 20 rounds through your fucking gun with those specific bullets to make sure it leads.
Absolutely. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Without question.
Okay, I didn't know that. I'm learning a bunch of shit on this. You haven't told me that. Thanks, asshole. Paying you for fucking nothing.
What? I knew you were good combatants, man. I wanted to see how you act under pressure.
Yeah, right.
Right. No, that's not gun guy.
I thought that was gun guy bullshit. I really did.
No, man. No, it's fucking real. In fact, anytime I switch brands of hollow points, I'll run at least 20 to make sure it's going to work. I mean, it's entirely possible that some like hollow points and some feed ramps just will not interface, and you're going to have like a misfire every time. So we're going to do that. So we're going to shoot those 20 rounds, make sure in fact, a lot of places that you buy the gun, they'll let you go like test fire it at their range right there. So take those 20, burn them. We'll just make sure it cycles, everything's cool.
Yeah. What about like this? But what if the gun guy says, "Oh yeah, it'll work"? No, you need to shoot him yourself.
Fuck no.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to shoot him yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Poor gun guys, man. We're shitting all over.
Dude,
guys didn't know them.
You know what? They deserve it. I'm sure they'll shit on me back as goddamn young whippersnappers don't know shit about nothing. 2 world wars.
All right, so then
Yeah.
got the gun, got the magazines, got the duty
Yep.
ammo. Anything else at the gun
Yep.
store when I make my initial gun purchase? Like a things that'll be there.
Probably a little bit of gun oil. If you haven't bought that already.
Yeah. So like that's the sort of thing where it's like, hey, can you give me a gun cleaning kit? Are there any, like, they're all basically the same, right? For our purposes?
Pretty much. Yeah. There's a lot of like snake oil and bullshit for especially for a pistol for starting out. Like it doesn't fucking, you can use fucking motor oil out of your car. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, just get some gun oil from the dude. It's fine.
Okay. So should we talk about right now? We got a little bit of time left. Red dot? Because I think most people, if you have the option, you want to buy that with the gun, right?
Yeah.
Like already installed if possible, or buy it at the gun store, and they'll put it on usually for free if you're buying the gun with the red dot from.
Yeah. Yep. Let me grab one of mine so we get out and talk about it a little bit.
Because let me see if you can see. No, you can't really. Oh, there it is. Yep. Look at that. You can see the red dot. See? Oh, so cool.
It's hilarious. My gun is next to my filming spot, so it's like a wall of guns.
So you see the red dot through Zoom?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know you could do that through Zoom. That's badass.
Yeah, it's fucking legit. Okay. So yeah, you should try to take pictures of them. That is a fucking pain in the ass. You gotta do this weird shit. Anyway. All right, so red dot versus not a red dot. Okay. This is gonna matter a lot when you buy your pistol.
Hold on, super, take a step back.
Yeah.
Clay, what the fuck is a red dot?
A red dot is just like you've seen in video games. A red dot and a little TV screen that basically aims for you. I mean, yeah, really.
So, no, like this is actually. Hold on. This is actually one of those things. Like, okay, so this is an optic that sits on top of your gun, right? And so, like, I actually had to watch videos of how they're made because, like, it's so weird. And essentially, very simplistically explained, it projects a red dot onto or in between some glass, right?
Yep.
And then when it's set up correctly and aligned, you look through your pistol. There you go. I can flag people on Zoom.
It's fine. Run Zoom.
Right.
Run Zoom.
Right. So you look through your pistol,
Watch
and I'm
this.
looking. My red dot right now is right on the camera, right? So if I pull the trigger, the bullet goes right to where the red dot is, right? It's an aiming device. And it's not obviously magic, but like it kind of seems like magic.
It's pretty close.
Right. Because like everything I had ever shot in my life was iron sights, right?
Right.
And then like I didn't actually even have a red dot. I'd never shot with one until summer of 2020 when I got serious about guns. And then I'm like, what are these red dot? This is like, I knew about, like, they go on rifles, like the super expensive Trijicon $2,000, like I knew about those, right? I'd seen those and I tested one or two, like at a range. I didn't like, it was like, cause these are relatively new for pistols, right? Last 3-4 years, 5 years.
Yeah, they started running around in military circles around like 2005, 2006.
Right.
Believe it or not, they've actually been around on race guns since like 1981.
Oh,
now,
wow.
That sounds fucking crazy, but they were very specialized. They were very big, and you had to have this like weird mount that went around the frame and held it like up here.
Yeah.
And so they've actually been around a long time. They didn't have any serious following. There's like 10 nerds that competed in this fucking red dot class, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was the only place they were on pistols. Military started getting serious about them around like probably like 2004, 2005.
What you mean your level of military, like special forces level? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, exactly. And they started doing it because there's certain times, very limited, like those special force level, where a pistol is actually like your primary weapon for reasons. All right. As well as we could see over suppressors that way. You could put a suppressor on it. It would work. Where with iron sights, many times the suppressor actually comes out and blocks the sight.
Yeah.
Unless you get some like really tall sights, start to smell real bullshit.
Yeah.
And the other reason is a red dot works with night vision goggles. You cannot. It's very difficult to see with a set of night vision goggles on. the sights. All right, trying to get my shit zeroed or adjusted so I can see iron sights. However, a red dot held out in front of my face like this, it just instantly picks up. So just like this, I have a thing I can climb with at night. So,
that's cool. I didn't know all that.
Oh yeah, dude, you got some goggles now. Try it out when you get home, dude. It'll blow your mind. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty neat. So anyway, military started getting serious about them probably about that like 2004 to 2007 space. That's really kind of what exploded their popularity, and then we went through some evolutions of red dots till probably about 3 or 4 years ago when they got really popular.
Right.
For civilians, they became a thing about like normal, regular, non-competitive shooter, non-military about 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. They really started to get popular. Manufacturers started for the first time selling guns with a red dot attached, which was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Because before that, like a lot of times you'd have to like go have like a machinist like cut a chunk out of your slide for you. It was fucking crazy.
Yeah, and drill the holes in for the screws and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was nuts. So now we had manufactured pretty much everybody now makes a pistol that's ready, just out of the box, ready for it.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people sell them.
Look at this. Even my airsoft gun has a plate on you can take off and put a red dot for a fucking airsoft gun.
Yeah, that's fucking absurd, but yeah. And if you're going so it's really got popular. And here's the thing that I like about red dots. It shortens the learning curve so much. Having been like a dude that taught shooting, like from when red dots didn't happen until they did, the first time I took a client out that had a red dot on his pistol,
right?
It shortened his first training session by like an hour. He got so much more out of it because it's so easy. It basically takes so much difficulty out of it. If I can just say, okay, put the red dot right there.
Yeah. Put it on the target. Now pull the trigger.
Gun yes. Yeah. So red dots are fantastic. They're not for everyone. I've shot enough iron sights that I still prefer iron sights, but again, that's having like, a million fucking rounds of iron sights and having to adjust. For anybody else starting out wise, a red dot shortens that learning curve so steep. So you should really think about having one of those.
So are there any specific brands or price points or what, like walk me through thinking about that?
Now here's the shitty part about red dots for pistols, especially the slide movement on a pistol is actually harder on a red dot than a rifle is. So they had to make red dots for pistols like 10 times more durable. And just think about the G-forces of that optic slamming back and sliding forward.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't do that on your rifle.
Yeah.
So because of that, there's not that many red dots that will survive for very long. There's like 3 brands that are like really tough. If we're talking about the Micronites, that's like Shield. Trijicon makes one, and then there's one other that it's on the website. I forget the name of it right now. If we go over to full size pistols, it's pretty much Trijicon with an Armor or an SR. Right? They're both Trijicon branded. Yeah. Or it is a Leopold Delta Point Pro. Like I got some American one here that I'm testing right now.
Yeah.
Don't buy this one. Like not yet. Not until this thing takes like 10,000 rounds. This is how it is. Those other 3 brands have survived long enough that they're known good quantity, good quality. You're going to pay for them like $400 or $500, but they're going to survive, and that's important.
Okay, so pistol red dot, like the brands you're saying, Trijicon, Leopold, the Leupold, however it's pronounced, and who else?
If it's the tiny guns, Shield brand, Shield RMSC.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, this is going to sound fucking crazy, but Hollow Sun is one of the toughest red dots out there. Right?
Yeah, I was going to say, man, I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot of dudes talk about that one.
It's fucking crazy that this like Chinese knockoff brand this is only like $350, but so many dudes that I know that they're in this space have like actually gone out and like just beat the ever living dog shit out of them and said, no, dude, it's fucking tough. It fucking survives. In fact, this is fucking insane. That's what H&K prefers to put on their pistols.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Germans don't fuck around with engineering.
No, they don't. No, with their demo guns for the VP9 series right now, they come with they have Holosun 507 C's on.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, bro. It's like it's a lot. I have a hard time with that. Just buying the fucking Chinese. I guess probably most of these are made in China anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Except the Leopold is made in America, I'm pretty sure. But it is what it is. And if that one's tough and it's surviving, like it is right. Like all you want, it's fact.
Well, I'm just going to tell you, Clay, we don't support that sort of racism on this podcast.
I got a cough. I don't know where it came from.
All right, cool. This has been amazing.